Hi, you guys. So, I've had a lot of requests for me to channel Kurt Cobain, and I'm going to go ahead and do that today. So, I'm not going to make too much of an introduction. I'm going to go ahead and connect with Kurt Cobain's spirit, the spirit of Kurt Cobain, as well as Kurt Cobain's higher self. So, whatever comes through this message is exactly as I am experiencing from these frequencies, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and relax here. I I feel inspired to share this message with Kurt Cobain as well as his higher self, as well as all of those watching, that for me this experience, it's not about, was Kurt Cobain murdered? Did Kurt Cobain choose a drug overdose? There's push to have an answer to this question. For me, that's not what drives my heart forward in life. What inspires me is to actually get to know the human, to get to know the spirit, to get to know who this person is, Kurt Cobain is. And if part of that message is how he died, then I welcome that to be a part of the message through this video. I welcome it to be anything. It might be very positive, it could be dark. I don't know what it's going to be, but I just feel inspired to say that first. So I'm just relaxing here. I'm hearing some weird, goofy noises like bump, did-a-dump, bump, bump, did-dump. And it also kind of has a weird snapping sound, and there's like spheres like marbles, and I hear like the clicking of marbles hitting each other. You could also imagine it as, one of those desk objects with the balls and on the strings, and then you just like let one fly and it goes tick tick tick. But I'm hearing these like clicky clack noises. And there's an inspiration to make noises from the body and from like random body noises like dump de dump dump bump 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 dee dee, while I'm also hearing life noises, random life noises like the marbles hitting each other, snapping fingers, but random life noises that start to work together in order to formulate a song, an actual song, a song that doesn't have any specific meaning other than it is the sounds of life, and it could be totally random sounds of life put together in order to create music. And it's really original. It's really original for me to experience this. Totally original. And why wouldn't have anybody thought of this until now? Like, how is it possible that nobody has thought to incorporate random life sounds, random life language, incorporate it together in order to create powerful music that move people, that change people? How is that? How is that? The more I go into what is very childlike inspiration, because this doesn't feel like it's coming from an actual adult, it feels like it's coming from a teenager who listened, who actually took in sounds from life and felt moved by sounds, all different kinds of sounds, and even random language, even could hear language creating music, or even hear music that spoke languages. And so it feels just really imaginative. It feels useful. It doesn't feel like 5 years old. It feels more like 15 years old, something of that kind. But it's not quite developed yet into what is serious, something serious here, more serious in the way that it expresses itself. It still feels very lighthearted and charming and innocent, but it feels like it's still crafting itself. This, whatever this rhythm is, whatever this momentum, this dream, this purpose is, it's got to become darker before it can become a gift. So it's crafting itself in a dimension of its own kind, which is the imagination, which is the heart of Kurt Cobain. But it's got to become darker for it to be more powerful, a more powerful tool. So some part of his soul is crafting a gift of darkness. But it's also a crafting creativity and working with randomness in order to change people. And there's actually magic, frequencies of magic put into the actual songs, and I don't think anybody's aware of that. I wasn't even quite aware of that. And how do I use language to describe what I'm talking about here? This is all me translating all the feelings that he is sharing with me, about other dimensions that his soul went to while he was a human being and had no idea he was doing it, bringing that information into himself and the mastery of creating his own music in his own way. And then I don't even think that it's fully realized that his soul came here to create a gift that would change the world. I know that's a really big thing to say because some people don't dig Nirvana, and other people, like, I actually feel that Nirvana changed music because it was so original and so random, and I feel like it changed society too, and the way people felt like expressing themselves in society. So music becomes a big deal when it changes people, and people are actually start to live or behave differently based on the frequencies. So the frequencies of his music were actually getting into people's souls, getting into people's DNA, and I know it sounds crazy, but getting into their vibrations and changing them. Now suddenly we're attracted to grunge, we're attracted to destroying the self as beauty, as emanation of love, and we're creating a society that is a lot dirtier, a lot rougher around the edges, a lot fuck it type of behavior, type of attitude, and that's really coming from the vibration of the Nirvana music. And his soul actually knew he was entering into this lifetime in order to do this, to create this frequency change in the human race. And it's actually important that this took place. This is important. And I don't necessarily, nothing is saying that this was bad or this was good, but it was essential that a vibration would change in the human race, and it would come through music of this kind. But for me, I also say, well, there's Marilyn Manson, there's Alice in Chains, there's, Metallica, Korn, there's all these other bands that you could say are in that genre at that time, and influencing people, in sort of this way. But it seems like the specific pitch and the tune and the style and the creation of the music and the way that it was expressed actually had a magical vibrational transforming element to it. And so people are getting absorbed into it and starting to become like zombie people, like people who aren't living in their heart, they're living in their chaos. They're people transforming people into living in their chaos and living in their death, actually. And I'm telling you, there's magic intertwined with the vibrations of the music. Music becomes powerful when there's a certain element of energy that is put into the expression and the creation of it. So music today, like, I have a habit of feeling like the music has died, like the music today, pop music, I do not feel that there's any vibrational energy, any power energy, any meaning to it. It feels like dead music. And so I find myself gravitating towards music that has life force energy. Even if it's on the Nirvana style, it still is alive. It's still living music, and it touches my soul in different ways. Do I have to become like the music? Do I have to become transformed by the music in this darker way? Or can I appreciate the way it makes me feel inside and still be myself? So some people can get manipulated by frequencies, while other people can appreciate the way the frequencies transform the meaning within them, but they still are grounded and able to carry out inner strength and inner light, etc. This is getting a lot darker because there's just a lot, I feel there's a lot of dark influence going on here on the spirit level. And I experienced Kurt Cobain himself getting absorbed into the darkness of the vibration of the reflection of the art of the craft. I feel like himself energetically being sucked into that. But there's a wholeness to it. It's odd because there's a wholeness, and it's so dark though. I mean, it's so totally dark. But it's acceptance of the dark. It's acceptance of the dark and the dark within the self. So he is in acceptance of the darkness within himself. But there's still an element of an illusion or manipulation going on here because he's not remembering the light within himself anymore, and he's just becoming transformed by the dark within himself. So you have to have balance. So we all have dark and we all have light, and we have to bring that into balance, chaos and love, and it's all just love. It really is all just love. Even chaos is love. So you have to bring it into balance in order to function in harmony. So I'm seeing that his dark side is getting so loud and it's stifling and hiding the light side of himself. So he's getting way more influenced by the dark vibes, which he's at peace with his dark side, which is not everybody is at peace with their dark side. Not everybody can tolerate that, but he is tolerating it, and he wants to get sucked into it. So his light side is starting to die, like get hidden by the dark side. Okay, dark side is wise too. So dark side isn't all evil. It's wise too, and we can learn a great deal from our dark side. But we have to also remember we are light as well and work in balance with both. He's not in balance with both. He's getting more and more sucked into the dark, shadowy side of himself. And it's in here, I'm telling you, in here, it's really thick black energy that is surrounding his whole form, and he's inside the nucleus of a really black, dark space. And it's suffocating, so he can't actually breathe in light energy, but he also feels he is this dark energy as well. It's like he's getting lost in it. He seems to know as well that he's getting lost in it. He's starting to recognize that this is becoming a problem, and it's starting to make him feel sick. So he's sort of in this right now, and I even feel a little bit delirious and even nauseous from it because it is so choking and stifling of the breathability of what creates the balance and the harmony. You can't just go deep into darkness and shut the light out. Like there's experiences, there's learning to be had with this, and it's dizzying, it's hard to breathe. So I'm here with Kurt Cobain, and it's very dark in here. He's actually not. He is so lost in the dark right now. His mind is getting confused. It's not processing the conversation. He's getting lost, and even in the words. He can't understand this conversation. It's like I'm talking Pig Latin or something. I'm talking in gibberish. I just don't get it. I don't know what you're saying. That's what he's acting like towards me. This is very energetically exhausting. Very energetically exhausting. He is so congested. He's a create. So we're looking at a creative frequency. The spirit of Kurt Cobain is a creative frequency, right? So creativity, where does it come from? The brain, or does it come from the heart? You have somebody who is creating energy music, actual energy music, which is magical music, music that transforms people, and it gets people in touch with the dark sides of themselves. So he's working with his heart to create energy music, and he's working with the dark side of himself to create energy music to transform people and transform society. That's freaking powerful. But he's also getting lost in the darkness within himself, within his soul. And so now this part of his spirit is so it's heart. I mean, he's lost in the dark side of his heart. That's powerful. Like that's not something you just see every day. People get lost in the darkness of their own thoughts because they can't think clearly, because people are so stuck in their heads all the time, and they get mad, and they blame everybody else, and they get, it's not right, it's not fair, and the world sucks, so blah 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 blah, and they're stuck in their heads, and they've never actually gone into their heart to actually say, you know what, there's a wiser balance, and there's a wiser meaning, and there's something far wiser about everything in this world. And it's not about the thoughts, because the thoughts have zero power. Thoughts have nothing without the heart. The heart is what fuels the creative forces. The heart is what fuels the energy, magic, and the music that changes people. This is hardcore right now to see Kurt Cobain's spirit in this glup. It's actually very energetically hard for me because it's so disturbing. In my emotional gut region, it's very pukish. It's very, I want to vomit really bad kind of feeling. Like, it's just so congested in here. I'm just standing here. I'm just waiting. I'm talking to his higher self. I'm exploring, what is my calling here? What is the next part of the message? It's going to get more twisted. It's going to get way more messed up. There's so much more influence that is tampering with the creative forces of him and what he is accomplishing, because he is manifesting such a huge ripple of darker transformations for across the globe, like in society, that he is also receiving an echo of his work. So it's getting far darker and more disturbing. Whether he sees evil spirits or has psychic communication with evil spirits, he feels. He definitely is a feeling, force of feeling, and but there's also something of the feelings and the communication with the ideas that are getting misconstrued. He's quite powerful within himself to be able to make positive, smart decisions for himself. So it's not like he would be easily manipulated kind of thing, but he's having a soul choice, his soul movement. This is a soul movement or a soul purpose, but he's getting lost in it. And he's forgetting who he is, which he is also love. He came here with a powerful purpose to change the world through music. But he's also love. He isn't just the dark side of himself, he is the love side of himself. I'm going to tell him that here in this space. Is just remind him who he is. I encourage him to take my hand and to stand up. He tells me that he's in a space where he can't hear anything. It's all muffled. So if you put your hands over your ears, and then it's just, it's all very muffled and it's muted and it feels like it's at a distance. So the best he can hear me is muffled and muted and at a distance. So that is how he's able to hear the frequency of love working with him and helping him out of this deep, 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 dark place. And it's very nauseating in here. I feel sickly. I feel like I want to vomit and I want to puke. I feel dizzy. I feel not healthy. I feel physically not healthy. But he still has a thriving spirit despite how I feel like I'm getting physically sick. Like my body is getting sicker and sicker. But in the midst of it, I mean, he still has a powerhouse ability to create, but the sicker his body gets and the more in the darkness he gets, it's much harder um, to be actively working and producing that type of creativity. So he's starting to get snuffed out, basically. He shows me that there's a lighter with a flame, and all he has to do is go, and his light is blown out. But he seems to see this as there's beauty in this image. There's beauty in the image of a lighter with a flame, and it's gone. The flame is gone now, and there's darkness, and that's it. I so sad about this, because I do know this place of darkness in the senses, where you become really attracted to creative dark things that seem to hold a lot of meaning, but they aren't helping you to grow like a tree grows in the sunlight, a tree that grows in the dark with emptiness, without the right types of soils. And I mean, under extreme conditions, it's acidic soils. Like there's something about, you choose to live in a energy world that is sucking the life out of you, and experience the beauty of that creative force, because there's beauty in destruction, there's beauty in the dark as well, but that isn't all there is. You got to remember there's also beauty in the life force energy too. It's not for him to accept that. It's not for this life as Kurt Cobain to know that. Like, it's for his life as Kurt Cobain to get to this point, and to fall into this point, and to be complete in the life and go to the next thing, whatever that is. So we're just exploring Kurt Cobain's spirit as a man, as a spirit, etc. And I'm not able to get this influence into him on the level where I can release him from this hypnosis. He's getting hypnotized by the beauty of the dark side of himself, and it's making him very sick, physically sick. And he shows me that he would really like to have a tight rope around his neck, where he would just hang himself. He would really like, he just can't breathe anymore, and he just needs to go away. He needs to die, because he can't breathe the human air anymore, and so he needs to be spirit, because spirits don't need air to breathe, and it's too dark, and it's too claustrophobic. It's too hard to breathe. Instantly, I experienced transition, and his higher self comes in and says his work here is done. Don't you people get it? His work here is done. That's all. There was no more need or purpose for Kurt Cobain. His work here is done. This is what he chose to experience. This is the gift he chose to give the world. This is the gift he wanted to learn from his own soul, his humanity, his experience as a man. And now his time is done. He did his purpose. His purpose is complete. There's nothing more. It's done. And there's a conversation here about living in the past or moving forward. Why are you not creating your own music? Why are you relying on me to create music for you? Why are you relying on an answer from the past to make you feel complete within yourself? Why do I have to have more of an answer for you of who I am in order for you to be happy? Is it my life that makes your life matter? Or is it time for you to live your life for yourself? That's Kurt Cobain speaking. He's pretty pissed off. He's got a lot of attitude about the human race and the depth of the way people treat each other, care about each other. They don't go into their heart, the creative side of themselves. They need other people to create meaning in their life, and they can't create the meaning in their life for themselves. there's there's something about this that really gets under his skin and creates the intensity of his music as well, which there's so much energy in it. It's magical music. It's actually magical music. And he has a lot of anger within himself too, because of the lack of deep understanding and deep appreciation, deeply wise perspective, creative perspective. There's a lot of anger in him about people not getting it, people not living their life for today, living their life for themselves. There's like a lot of intensity from him, and loudly splats out the intensity into anger and the movement for change, but it's on a dark side. It's on a dark side of itself. And he actually starts to learn or digest wisdom related to crafting energy music with the chaos frequency, with the dark frequency. But there's still love in it too, because he has appreciation for it. He doesn't have fear of it. He has appreciation for it, and he inspires us also to appreciate the darkness as well through his music, and bring out the dark sides of ourselves through his music. And you can actually see that in history, that he manifested a grunge era, Kurt Cobain did. Nirvana together as a group did. He doesn't like me saying it was all Kurt Cobain. He said it's not all me, because I'm not the master of the music. We are. Him and his Nirvana is the master of the music. And he doesn't want to be the centerpiece of the music. He's part of it. He's part of the creation. He's part of the inspiration. That it's a group. It's the group that manifested it, not just him. He still carries a lot of anger and upsets, but it's about society. It's not about one specific person in his life that did him wrong, for instance. It's about society as a whole, and that anger and what he saw in society that made him angry is what manifested the music. So in a way, it's not just him, it's not just Nirvana, it's you people. It's society. It's society that made all of this magic possible. Society created this influence, which then created this digestion and this transformation of society through the music. He's got a, I don't know how to describe this next scene, but he's sort of got like a staff with a spear head on it, and it's made out of like a really shiny silvery metal, and it reflects the light coming from the sun. And he pounds it down, and it's a crazy, like a sci-fi galactic looking image of himself, but he's very sharp and really intense, intense jagged edges, and just like when he pounds that down, he just wants it to bellow forth, and he wants to be like this rage to be heard, or this intensity to be felt, and to ripple, to echo, to be. I mean, he looks like a mirror that somebody took a saw and cut very sharp edges out in order to create this reflection of himself, which is jagged edges. It's a broken mirror. It's a broken mirror that's still put together, a broken mirror of intensity, a broken mirror of releasing all this anger, and it's just so powerful in the vibration. But it's like, for me, it's like it's power, it's beauty in its own right, but I'm kind of tired of anger. I'm kind of tired of how anger is shaping the world to continue to work with that force. I mean, I don't like it. I don't want an angry world, because an angry world is still focused on not letting go of the hurt, is still focused on that. And I'm at peace with the world as it is, people afraid to be themselves, people afraid to let go of their anger, their hurt, people choosing to be manipulators because they're afraid to be honest. I live in a world of fear. I was born into a world of fear. So the way I translate that is not in anger and not creating music to influence the dark sides of people to come forward to be an army of anger, an army of reflection of that hurt and that anger, that we all just digest and just become angry, or a grunge world or a fuck it world or whatever. There's more. There's another way. There's another way. And I digest this and I transform it into wisdom, and I'm going to stay solid and grounded in emanating love. And if love is weak, then that's the illusion, because it's love that gives you the hug, that tells you everything's going to be okay. It's love that comes into your dark world and reminds you of your balance and your harmony and to return back home. Because in the end, when you go that deep into darkness, it's the hug that you want more than anything else. It's the love that you want more than anything else. It's not the anger anymore. It's the love. He really, he's a meaningful person. Let's just say that he really accesses meaning, and when he contemplates something, he goes into the meaning, the deep meaning of it. And I mean, we're talking emotional meaning. We're talking, how does it make me feel, and why does it make me feel that way? But to go only so far as to feel frustrated, or angry, but not to go further and say, I don't have to be angry. The thing is, it wasn't his purpose. His purpose was to go into this frequency, to share this frequency, to transform people in this way, to teach people about the dark sides of themselves through music, energy music. That's freaking awesome. That's just mind-blowingly awesome. That's so awesome. The world, even if energy music creates the dark sides of us, it's us learning about ourselves. Some of us just get sucked into it, just react to it, just become like a puppet of it, but don't actually go and say, well, why am I being a grungy person, a fuck it person? Just because of the music I listen to, or is that who I truly am and what I truly believe in? But this was his purpose. This was his soul's purpose, Kurt Cobain's purpose, to manifest this. And so that's it. That's all there is to say about that. That's it. Let's move on now. We're living in today. We're not living in yesterday. We're not living for Kurt Cobain. His time is over. He did everything he needed to do in this lifetime, and that's it. So now we can move on. That's the message. All right, I'm going to go ahead and come back into myself. I'm just disconnecting from his emanation, his vibration, from his higher self, from his spirit. I'm sharing gratitude with his soul and higher self for what they have shared with me today and shared with the world today, so that we can learn as a collective about love from new angles. That's what life is all about. That's what all the souls are all about. That's what everybody here on this planet is all about. Teaching us, learning about love. For all the teachers and the students. All right. That's all I can share for this message. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If any of you would like to connect with me one-on-one for a psychic session, please visit me at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. Thank you all, and have a great day.